Thank you for joining us today for the 2023 Furniture Today Empowering Women Awards virtual presentation. We are honored to gather as a community to recognize the achievements of companies that have made a difference in changing the landscape of the home furnishings industry. We invite you to find a cozy corner, adjust your screens to the perfect angle, and prepare to be inspired by the outstanding stories that await.
Thank you to our general sponsors, HRI, Krypton, and Anmore. We'd also like to thank our award sponsor, Best Home Furnishings. And now, here to introduce our keynote speaker, Editorial Director Bill McLaughlin.
Good afternoon and welcome to Furniture Today's Empowering Women event. Our keynote speaker today is Lori Kelly, president of Lori Kelly Advisors, past president and current board member of With It. Lori, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your time. Let me get out of your way and please take the stage.
Thank you, Bill. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for the opportunity. You know, it's super fun to be able to talk about my favorite topic, as you know, finding a way for women to be empowered and successful in their careers throughout our industry. And we know we need more women in there. So I appreciate the invitation. So thank you. All right. Well, it is a pleasure, as I said, to be here to talk about this important topic, you know, and I can tell you, for me, in my career in this industry, I've spent all of my plus 30 years in this business. So it's kind of a long time, but this is an amazing industry that has given me so many wonderful opportunities. And I've met so many great people, including Bill and the team at Furniture Today. And kudos to them for putting this on, recognizing that this is so important, because we do need to, as either women leaders or women in the industry, or company owners or people who work for companies, we do need to ensure the success of women in our organization, specifically because it's furniture, right? And that's what we do. So I'm just going to start sharing here. Perfect. So women in the furniture industry, let me tell you something. It's been an interesting ride. I have been doing this for a while, as I mentioned. Actually, I started in the industry in 1989. I can't even believe it. I don't even want to add up the years. It's a lot of years, but a long time. And it's been so much fun, but it has been a very interesting ride. And I remember my first job right out of school, coming into the home furnishings industry, and I was working for Pennsylvania House Furniture. Some of you may know Pennsylvania House and can relate to this. But I came in to open stores for them, company-owned stores. And so my very first High Point market as this 20-something was October of 1989, my introduction into the home furnishings world, and High Point, North Carolina. And it was big. You know, for a girl from Kansas City, it was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Wow, I don't even know where to go here. So the first thing I think I thought was how big this is and how many showrooms there were. And oh my gosh, it just was overwhelming. A lot bigger than it is now. But the second thing that stuck out to me more than anything else is, where are all the women? My gosh, I thought women bought furniture, right? That's what we do. But there were no women there. And I remember as I was preparing for this, I was thinking back to my initial introduction to Pennsylvania House. And, you know, I think I remember 3 other women, and they were two of them were in showroom setup. And another one was like the administrative assistant for the product development team as they were building new furniture. And then there was me, this little retail person, right? And that was it. And I think we had 2 other women in the sales organization. That was it. And the rest of it were men, which was great, fine, but it was a little different than what I had expected. So, and for those of you who've been doing this a long time like me, we could probably share some really interesting stories that I'll do another time, maybe. Maybe I'll write a book, I don't really know. But it has been an interesting time when we talk about women in the industry over the past 30, 40, 50 years. And I would say it's definitely getting better, right? There are more young women and young men actually in our industry now, but not enough yet. Um, Bill mentioned that I'm a part of With It, and With It has been an important part of my life over the last 20 years. I think I've been a member now for 23 years. Just celebrated our 25th anniversary last year. And so it's been a really important uh, place for me, an organization for me to be a part of. And so I'm happy to report I see a lot of young women coming up because we have a lot that are stepping into leadership roles, which is great to see. But I would tell you, it's not enough yet. And so even with women initiating the purchase for home furnishings and such, we're usually the first ones doing it, and yet we don't have enough leading companies yet. It's better, but we have a long way to go. So over the last couple of years, With It and I, Amy Van Dorp, our executive director specifically, we were preparing for another Furniture Today assignment a year ago that I'll go into later. And so we looked into some of the studies that are being done about what's happening with women leaders in the industry. And I think as I go through some of this, some of you might be able to relate to it. I know I could. There's a lot of it in here that I can absolutely relate to and point to. Yep, that happened to me. And yep, I know all about this. So these studies are just mind blowing because it's showing, unfortunately, even in 2022, that women are leaving the workforce or changing companies or changing industries or changing positions to positions that are not as important or perhaps as influential just because they're throwing up their hands saying, you know what, this is just too much. So for our time together today, we're going to delve into three things that I think will be helpful to everyone, hopefully, that's enjoying this, being a part of this presentation. The first area is we're going to talk about the research that I just mentioned. There's a couple of studies that have been done that were really mind-blowing. Again, what are the reasons that women are leaving these leadership roles and are just unhappy, remarkably, in increasing numbers with the companies that they're working for? So that's the first one. The second part we'll talk about is, okay, so if they're unhappy, then what is it that they're looking for to maximize their enjoyment and satisfaction in their roles with their companies? Okay, so we'll talk about what makes them unhappy, what they're looking for, and then finally, from this 30 years of experience, both in working with a number of some of the best companies in the industry, and now in my current role with my company over the last 6 years, I get to work with lots of different companies about what we can do to encourage women leaders and make sure that they feel good about what they're doing. And I think there are three areas of focus that I think will help all of us. Whether you're a women leader, that you're trying to climb that ladder and get to the position that you want to be in, or you're sitting there as a company going, we need to make sure that we take care of these important young women. And so we'll dive into all three of those, and we're just going to get started now. So let's talk about this study. So leanin.org initiated a study back in 2022 into what's going on with women specifically in the workplace. And some of their key findings were really amazing, and unfortunately not in a good way. But the key conclusion that came out of this research was basically we're in the midst of a great breakup, meaning that women are demanding more from the work that they have, and they're leaving their companies in unprecedented numbers to go find it. And if they can't find it, they're just going to wait until they can. And unfortunately, that leaves companies in a very, very difficult position because we want to make sure that we're full of people. And we all know that right now it's hard to find people. So what they found was incredibly interesting. So I'm going to take about a 50-page report and boil it down to 4 key summary findings for you, which I think is pretty telling. So some of the reasons that they're stepping away is, for the most part, women leaders are just as ambitious as men. As a matter of fact, I can tell you from experience, I felt like I had to work 2 and 3 times harder in my career as men in a similar role to me. But in many companies, they're still in 2022 finding the headwinds so much that they're finding it hard to advance in their roles. Secondly, women are more likely to experience these belittling microaggressions, such as having their judgment questioned or perhaps being mistaken for someone junior. I've had direct experience with this in my career. I remember one time in particular, I was president of Rose Retail Division, the home element stores. We had 26 stores on the East Coast. And as I mentioned, I had earned the title of president and chief operating officer. And I remember going places in the industry, certainly, and then just within the local community that we lived in. And someone would ask me, well, what do you do? And I said, well, I work for Home Elements. And they were like, oh, are you in sales? Are you an interior designer? Do you do space planning? You know, nothing wrong with any of those roles. They are wonderful roles and very important to our industry. I found it telling, though, that nobody would see me as someone who was leading the company. And so I would have to go, well, you know, I'm like the president. And they'd be like, wow, you know, head blown. How could somebody young and a female be leading an organization like that? That may not be what they were thinking, but that's how I took it. And that has happened to me many times. Women are doing more to support employee well-being in their companies and foster that inclusion. But this critical work is spreading them too thin, and it's mostly going not only as unrewarded or unrecognized, but even expected. You know, in most companies, women are the ones that jump in and do the team lunches and the corporate outings, the lunch and learns, and those kinds of things to build relationships and collaboration and such. But you know, when that's expected and it's not, people aren't thankful for it, you find yourself spread too thin. You're trying to do that and your day job, and there's not enough hours in the day to do it all. And then finally, you know, for women, it is very important that they work for companies that prioritize that flexibility, employee wellness and well-being, and then that are interested in diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I would say that I think coming post-COVID, we really have to think about all companies I know are working on whatever this hybrid work schedule is, or whatever that ends up being. But that is super important. I think we're doing better in the terms of diversity and equity and inclusion, certainly gender realization. But I also think that there's a lot of work still that needs to be done to make sure that we're providing flexible schedules. So within this study, this was something that was also I found to be very interesting. The quotes that are on the screen now are ones that were coming out of the people who were filling out the survey. And perhaps you can relate to some, many, or perhaps all of them. I know that I can. No career advancement path. I know I've hit the ceiling. There's no recognition for what I'm doing. It's a difficult work culture and environment. To the fact that that still happens today, still, it leaves me speechless. Too few examples of women in executive roles. Happens everywhere. So that's a problem. Okay, so we've talked about what the concerns are and the reason people are leaving. So what do women want? So this additional study that I found in doing preparation for this was from a company called HR Dive. And they are focusing on their survey of hiring women leaders. Okay, so we want more women leaders in our organizations and our companies. What is it that they're looking for? And so what I've got here coming up now is the top 6 answers that the survey respondents gave. The first one is equal opportunities for men and women. Isn't this interesting? And I know when Bill and I were talking about preparing for this and what we would talk about during our time together, I told him, I said, I've been a proponent my entire life of the best person getting the job. No matter the gender, no matter the race, whatever it is, let's make sure that if there's people that are applying for this position, the salary should be the same and the best person should get the job. But if in case of a tie, then let's make sure as an organization, we're looking to make sure that we are recognizing diversity. Super important. But these women said equal opportunities for men and women. I found that to be very interesting. Competitive PTO. So PTO now has become like just this whole blanket for all kinds of time off, whether it's vacation, holiday pay, sick days, whatever, maybe national holidays, floating holidays, or whatever. The companies that I work with now, I encourage them. You got to make sure that your PTO, whatever plan and process and policy that you have, is competitive. So research it, take a look at other companies, make sure it's good. And because that's really important. And now we know it's important to women. Salary parity, just pay me the same. Pay me the same amount of money for the same role with the same amount of experience. I know in that job that I mentioned to you that I had when I started with Pennsylvania House, I know that the person that had it before me was making about $25,000 more than I was, and it was a man. So that's not fair, right? So just make sure that the salary levels are equal for the experience and the job that's being expected. Outstanding coworkers. So this one, I kind of laughed at this one a little bit. And basically what this means is they want to work for a company where they enjoy the people that they work with, right? I don't know about you, but in the companies that I've worked for, I've had wonderful relationships that I made during my time there, and I'll keep them in place today. And I do that because I enjoyed being around other people that were on the same fabulous ride that I was on. Flexible work hours, we're back to that. We want to make sure that coming out of COVID, they're recognizing that people went from a 40-hour work week in the office to 100% working remotely to now the hybrid piece in the middle. Sometimes we've had to pick up other responsibilities as women, whether it's with aging parents or family members or whatever. Let's make sure that we're offering flexible work hours to allow us to continue to do those important things in our lives. And then finally, we want a clear succession path, very clear. I can tell you now, when I work with large companies and we talk about this, that's easier for them to do. Smaller companies, not so easy. But women particularly want to know that they're happy with what they have now, but they want to know what the path forward looks like. So we talked about what the problems are, what the needs and wants are. So now I'm going to give you what I feel like are 3 areas of focus that just happen to follow the acronym of HER. How about that? Worked out perfectly, right? And this is based on my experience of over 30 years in this industry in leading organizations and companies. And now I get the opportunity to help companies that I work with directly to make sure their performance management programs to take care of their teams is really good too. And this is the exact outline that I follow. And it just happens to spell HER. So let's talk about it. Number 1, hire, defining that role. Then you find, then you onboard, and then you recruit and then onboard the person for success. It has to follow that. A lot of companies don't take the time to make sure that the role is well defined. Secondly, empower, give them a seat at the table. This was always super important to me as well. And I know to a lot of young women that I work with now, they just want their voice heard. They want to be able to participate in discussions and decisions. So important. Provide the development opportunities and then watch them execute. It will be beautiful. And then finally, retain. Show them the path forward, right? Here's how we're going to get there. Encourage the balance between work and family and home, and then recognize those efforts. Everyone likes to have their efforts recognized. Okay? Makes sense? So we're going to dig in here. Let's start with hire. Under the focus of hire, I see 3 very important areas. We need to define the role, we need to find and recruit the right candidates, and then we need to make sure we onboard them for success. Easy as that. So under defining the role, this is basically, guys, a job description, okay? Articulate the responsibilities of the role, what the expectations are, what the goals and objectives are, and then what key performance indicator metrics are going to be used to make sure that the person is doing the job. But the job description seems like something like, yeah, we have a job description, but how often do you look at it? Do you use it? Do you update it as the company's needs change, as positions change, as responsibilities change? All of that is just so super important. So why do we need an updated job description and definition of the role? Well, first of all, it provides clear expectations. That comprehensive job description will outline the roles, the responsibilities, the expectations, all associated with the position. So that clarity ensures both the company and the prospective employee have a shared understanding of what the job entails. And it helps prevent misunderstandings and promotes a positive working relationship from the start. Everyone needs to know what the expectations are. Ensures accurate hiring, right? So a detailed job description will attract the right candidates, right? Who possess those necessary skills and qualifications for the role. It serves as a filtering tool, right? So you only get individuals, hopefully, applying that align with the job requirements in specific. This saves time and resources, certainly in that whole recruitment process, by reducing the need to sift through a bunch of irrelevant applications. So we want to make sure that we're clear on what we're looking for. And it does ignite employee engagement. So when an employee has a clear understanding of the responsibilities from the outset, they're more likely to feel engaged and motivated, right? Clarity about job expectations, especially for women, help them focus specifically on tasks and contribute effectively to the organization. All really important. Okay, next, under finding and recruiting them. So once we've defined the role and what the ideal candidate DNA looks like, then we determine the best way to locate and attract them. Easy as that, right? And it can be easy, but sometimes it's a shotgun blast and you just go out and you try and find people all over the place. It needs to be a very focused process. First of all, by expanding your recruitment channels. So finding and partnering with a great recruiting company or companies is a terrific way to find talent. So they typically have a pretty good pool of qualified candidates, and they'll do the work for you. I know that there's a lot of recruitment firms that specialize in certain industries. I know in the home furnishings industry, we have a handful that are my go-to, certainly, and a lot of other people. And so it's important to find the right one that fits the search that you're conducting. I would say LinkedIn is also a terrific platform to do that as well. And women leaders, myself included, I'm very active on LinkedIn. And I think it's a great way to find other women leaders to at least start the dialogue with. Partnering with women or women's organizations. So again, it's important to use a variety of recruitment channels because you want to reach that diverse pool of candidates, including professional women's associations, perhaps going to some networking events, job-focused boards that are maybe women-oriented, collaboration with women's organizations like With It. And those networks will allow you to tap into their talent pool and connect with leaders. I know With It has a fabulous career site on the website where their companies, specifically their corporate members and other companies, can post jobs. It's a great place to start. Showcasing diverse leadership by highlighting team members. Companies don't do enough of this. But if you have some awesome women leaders and even some great men leaders, showcase them on your website when people go to find out more about what you do, or perhaps your LinkedIn page, but highlight their achievements and some of their accomplishments in company materials that'll be out there talking about the company. Okay, and then the third piece under hire is onboarding for success. So for me, I believe you should create a comprehensive introduction to the company with 30, 60, 90-day targets and very, very clear expectations. Those 30, 60, 90-day targets are really important because you can talk to the person about, this is what we expect you to have accomplished in 30 days. And then in 60 days, we got to make sure that we get you through all of this. And then by 90 days, we should have the first two handled and then everything in this list. That for women, I can tell you, for me included, I love a roadmap. And it gives you a terrific roadmap on what's expected. So within this area, you just make sure that you put together a personalized onboarding plan. You would be amazed at the amount of companies that don't take the time to do that. And we need to make sure the plan is personalized to that person and position, taking in consideration the women leader's background, their skills, their goals, their experience. There may be certain areas you have to focus on more than others. You tailor that plan to align with her specific role and responsibilities, with the key targets in that 30, 60, 90-day roadmap to accomplishing that introductory. This is my favorite, assigning a mentor or a buddy. And I've done this many occasions in my past working with companies and hiring new people. Pair that woman leader with a mentor or a buddy in the organization who can provide guidance, answer questions, and help her navigate the company cultures and processes. Women typically like to know what the rules are. So, and there's a lot of things that might come up in processes and procedures and whatever that you're not comfortable going to your direct, supervisor for. Put that buddies person in place and you'll be amazed at the integration of the company. Becomes so much easier. It's like in school, right? Didn't you want to have a lunch buddy on your first few days at school? Same kind of thing. It can be super powerful. Finally, articulate that leadership development plan. So communicate the professional development areas, maybe some educational tools, career enhancement options, anything else that would be available to her within the organization will help her with that path for growth. Remember, women don't like it when they don't see what the succession plan is. So let's lay it out, even if it doesn't have to have a detailed timeline, or by this date and that date this will happen, just so she can see that there's something else that lies ahead. All right, that's hire. Now we're going to jump into empower, right? So in this, I also find three areas that I think we need to really focus on. Number one is professional support. There's that seat at the table, really important. And then the whole work-life balance of career versus family. How do we help our women leaders deal with that? So under professional support, you got to invest in them to make them better at what they do. And this is true for everyone. I know we're here to talk about women leaders, but that professional development piece is so critically important. I know that most companies will have business goals that you assign during a performance review period that are based on metrics. So maybe it's a sales goal, maybe it's a profitability goal, maybe it is a margin or inventory goal, something that's highly measurable. But the one thing companies miss out on a lot of the time is the professional development goals. Maybe it's some sort of continuing education to help with soft skill or something perhaps that they're not as proficient at. All of that will help them feel more confident and be empowered. So when you provide the skill enhancement, it's that ongoing professional development, right? It helps them enhance their skills. Plus, they will remain relevant and competitive in their roles, which will help them feel better about what they do. Fosters innovation and creativity, right? So professional development fosters that innovation by exposing women leaders, particularly to new ideas, perhaps fresh perspectives or different approaches that they might want to take that they can apply to their roles and their teams. It makes them better. It makes their teams better as well. And it provides such an important confidence boost, right? Anytime we gain new knowledge or skills through some sort of ongoing education will boost the women leaders' confidence, empowering them to tackle those challenges, take on new responsibilities, and make sure that they do it and they're excited about it. And they really feel like that they are qualified to do it. And then finally, reduces flight risk. One of the most expensive things we do is staff in any company. So the more valued women leaders feel within those companies and in more invested in they are, the more loyal and committed they will be overall, which leads to reduced opportunity for them to find employment elsewhere. Everybody likes to feel loved in the job that they do. And if a company is investing in you or your women leaders, chances are they're going to stick around, because why go start that all over somewhere else? Providing that seat at the table. So from this, we create decision makers and support their efforts and direction. And it is magical what happens when you do this, honestly. And you do it for a variety of reasons. But first of all, it really does offer a diverse perspective. So women will bring a differing viewpoint, right? An experience to every topic that comes up for the most part. And that will enrich your discussions, and it will lead to more well-rounded and innovative decisions because you're getting a different perspective. It does enhance decision-making results. So by including women in the decision-making process, the quality of the decisions improve just because the process will automatically consider a wider range of ideas, some different insights, and some potential outcomes that could be completely different. Gain market relevance. We talked about it at the beginning. Women typically lead the effort to buy furniture. So women make up a significant portion of all consumer bases outside of furniture. And having their perspective available in decision-making will ensure products and services under consideration, new launches, new introductions, will align with other women's needs and preferences, which in turn should lead to a much more successful launch and sales outcome. So tap into that market relevance, because they look at things, we all as women look at things much differently typically than men do. And then that cultural transformation potential, actively involving women in the decision-making can really help reshape the workplace norms and expectations, which should challenge more traditional gender roles that have been very prevalent in our industry, as we have been talking about. So let's get more women at the seat at the table and their voices heard, and then it becomes a more diverse information pool in which to make decisions from. And then finally, career versus family under empowering. Providing the genuine support for needs at work and home, super important, just as I mentioned, just in our post-COVID timeframe. I know I was caring for an aging mother during that time, and it was a balance then, and it's certainly a balance now. So we really need to consider how we are transitioning away from all of that into this new hybrid role or hybrid schedule. Offering those flexible work arrangements. We saw that in that HR Dive report, that's important too. The study was done with young women, but I know it's important to me, people that are further advanced in their careers. So it's really important to consider to provide those flexible work hours, remote work options, those maybe compressed work weeks, or some sort of job sharing if the position or the company allows for that, to be a part of the work structure. So by providing this enhanced flexibility, it allows women leaders to better manage the wide-ranging responsibilities they have, both professionally and then at home. And women just have more on their plates than men do. And this allows them to make sure that they're taking care of everything. Creating wellness programs. I think this is so important. So companies offering wellness programs that focus on, physical needs, mental health, emotional well-being, programs like stress reduction techniques, meditation, taking time for meditation, or mindfulness training, fitness initiatives, get them out, get them walking, do things to keep everybody moving, clearly will demonstrate the company has a concern for the overall happiness and health of their women leaders, which again leads to enhanced commitment by everyone on the team, not just the ladies. Encouraging delegation and empowerment of others. We need to encourage women leaders to delegate those tasks and empower their own teams to make and execute decisions, which will enable the women leaders to focus on more strategic decision-making, leadership, looking down the road a little bit further, which gets them out of the weeds. And if we insist that the women leaders do that, guess what? They'll in turn do that with their own teams. And then everybody benefits as a result. It also gives a commitment to the team and other managers, gives them confidence in their abilities to be able to do that because somebody said, hey, you can do that. I'd love for you to do that for me. We don't have to do it all. And that's the key. And then finally, insist on time off. We have to encourage the use of vacation days, personal days, mental health days, whatever, floating holidays, whatever, to recharge and rejuvenate. Accruing tons of PTO days is not a badge of honor. And I was the queen of that. I know it when I was at Pennsylvania, at one point I had like 38 vacation days that I hadn't used and I couldn't carry all of them over. And I'm looking back, I'm just like, why did I do that? That's just ridiculous. Everybody needs time away from work. And this break allows women leaders to take care of themselves first, hopefully, but probably not because they take care of others first. And then certainly with their families and their friends and such without a ton of guilt, which, by the way, women tend to carry around too. All right, so then finally we get to retain. And I think there are 3 areas of focus within this area, which again, so we have defined the position. Hopefully we've selected the right candidates. We've onboarded them for success. Lots of different ways to empower them, be flexible, ensure that they are delegating, they feel empowered, they have a seat at the table. Now we want to keep them, right? So retaining them as part of the organization is really, really important. And I see this breaking down into 3 key areas. Recognition. Everybody loves to be recognized for a job well done, right? But yet we're quick to point out when there's the faults versus the praise, which unfortunately, I don't know why we do that, but unfortunately that does tend to be more prevalent. Mentoring. Going to dig into that because that's a big, big passion of mine. And then the importance of support organizations to make sure that they feel supported outside of their just nucleus of work. So let's dig into recognition. So celebrate achievements, right? Motivate and transform the team and the leadership at the top. And oh my gosh, that just bleeds on down to the rest of the company. Why is that important? Well, it's a validation of accomplishments, right? Recognition acknowledges achievements, skills, contributions, all of those great things that women leaders provide. And it also serves as a wonderful validation of that really hard work, dedication, expertise, and it boosts confidence and self-esteem. It just makes them better leaders. So let's make sure we're taking the time to look and find ways that we can acknowledge and validate those accomplishments. It enhances motivation and morale. No kidding. It's like the fuel for igniting energy and passion of women leaders. Feeling valued and appreciated by the organization, by the leadership of the organization, by your boss, just reinforces her commitment, enthusiasm to drive that positive change and make good, sound, impactful decisions. And guess what? The whole company benefits as a result of that too. It encourages leadership development. So recognizing women leaders can encourage them to take on new challenges, right? Better problem solving, and certainly expanded leadership roles towards that succession of where they want to be. It signals to them that their growth and advancement within the organization is so very well supported. It's acknowledged and it's greatly appreciated. And then finally, it creates that elevated engagement, right? Women leaders who feel appreciated and validated by their companies, studies show, will be more engaged and invested in their roles. They're going to go the extra mile. They're going to demonstrate a strong commitment to achieving both personal and organizational goals, which tends to keep them in to the company for the long haul. Now we talk about my favorite area, and that is mentoring. Anybody who knows me at all knows that I am super passionate about mentoring. We need to encourage those critical relationships to build confidence and performance. Because guess what? Nobody has all the answers. And you can go to someone if you have that relationship in place that can help you navigate that. First and foremost, a mentoring relationship provides guidance and wisdom. That mentoring provides women leaders with access to the wisdom and the experience and the journey of someone else who's already navigated a similar path. Mentors can offer valuable insights, advice, guidance, all of that, helping the people that they're mentoring make informed decisions and avoid potential pitfalls. They make the journey easier, right? Good mentoring relationships, your mentor doesn't tell you what to do, but they'll ask enough questions and they'll have a discussion with you that'll help you find the right path forward and the right decision for you. Encourages work-life integration, which is one of the things that women leaders struggle with all the time. So balancing all that leadership responsibility that you have with the personal life challenges can be very, very difficult. So walking alongside a mentor can help share those strategies and ideas for achieving that work-life integration and balance, and helps you just feel better. And it encourages well-being as well. Offers a sounding board. Oh my gosh, I can tell you, I have 2 mentors, and even at this advanced age and career status, there are still times when I'm like, I have no idea what to do here. I mean, I've come to a crossroads. Do I go this way? Do I go this way? So mentoring offers that safe space for women leaders to discuss thoughts, concerns, challenges, aspirations. And they can be very open, transparent, very vulnerable. And there's nothing wrong with saying, I don't know what to do here. But as women leaders, we're hard on ourselves, and we're very reticent to do that, because then people will think we're weak and we don't have all the right answers. So doing that with a mentor, oh my gosh, is the best way to go. It's a wonderful way for brainstorming and just reflection with a non-judgmental sounding board. It's amazing. And then finally, for me, it gives me an opportunity to provide that leadership legacy, right? So mentoring is a way for women leaders to give back and contribute to the development of future leaders, which is what I love so much about doing it. It allows me the opportunity to leave a positive impact on the next generation of women leaders aspiring to leadership roles. And there's just no better gift that you can give them, honestly. And then finally, under retain, support organizations. So leaders are more successful when surrounded by other leaders on the same journey. And yes, right here, this will be a plug for my favorite organization, which is With It. So why is this important? Well, it offers impartial professional development, right? So networking organizations like With It provide invaluable opportunities for women leaders to enhance their professional skills, expand knowledge, and also stay up to date on various industry trends from other companies. So you attend workshops or seminars or conferences, and they'll typically offer a series of guest speakers that can provide expertise and insight that can contribute to their growth as leaders. So encouraging membership and attendance and things like this, I think, is an important way to take care of these women leaders. Provides access to potential role models, whether it's a mentor or somebody you just look up to. These organizations can give you the platform for women leaders to connect and start that dialogue with experienced mentors and role models, right? That interaction with successful leaders can inspire and guide both emerging leaders, younger leaders, or more tenured leaders, because we always are looking for new ideas. And providing that valuable advice and guidance, no matter what stage of career that we're in, there's nothing better. And that's a good place to get it, when you meet and network with others that are doing the same thing or the same thing that you are. It expands your network, right? Joining a networking organization widens the women leaders' professional networks. So building that relationship with colleagues from different departments, different industries, different businesses, doesn't have to be the same thing that you do, but it can lead to collaborations. It can lead to partnerships and a better understanding of the company's overall operations as you start to dig into stuff at your company that you learned someone else was doing at their company. It also provides valuable information that sparks creative thinking, towards new and innovative ideas, which guess what? Benefits the company. So why would you not want to be a part of that and take advantage of that? And then finally, it also allows for increased visibility and opportunities for the company. So by allowing your women leaders active participation in these networking organizations, like with it, can definitely increase the visibility of women leaders within the company, certainly. And that visibility leads to new opportunities, projects, business collaborations, all of these things as women leaders explore the world around them. I will tell you, some of the best marketing, product development, brand ideas that I was able to come up with in my past in a variety of companies that I worked for came exactly from me taking time to network and build my group of connections. And let me tell you something, you never underestimate the power of that tribe, because those ladies and that networking will allow you to do great things and talk to people who perhaps are doing what you're doing, but they'll help you navigate the difficult times too. So women, we need a tribe, right? We need our work tribe, we need our personal tribe, and those people surround us and help us be better at what we're doing, either personally or professionally. And I will tell you, with it serves in such a wonderful role doing this between networking, leadership, education. It's great. And I'll tell you something else that's been great as I bring all this to a close. You know, as being part, as Bill mentioned, for the company for so long, and I've been on the board for over 18 years, man, when it came to educational breakfasts or content for the conferences or such, and we wanted to highlight and focus women in leadership roles, for a number of years, it wasn't easy. Let me tell you, we didn't have a lot to choose from. That's why we're here today, right? Finding ways to empower and position women leaders. But what's been really cool in the last few years is because our industry is evolving and we are changing and there are women that are coming up, we've had a plethora of wonderful women leaders that we've been able to highlight and focus on the various events that we handle. Here on the screen, you'll see April 2022, we did Lessons in Leadership at our educational breakfast, a new generation of leaders, and we had a stage full of amazing leaders. In April, just this past April of 2023, our theme was Women Blazing Trails. And we had some amazing women who are doing terrific things in our industry talking about their journey. And then the team at Furniture Today and Bill McLaughlin at the last leadership conference gave With It the opportunity to lead a panel discussion. I was lucky enough to be able to serve as the moderator with three of my favorite leaders in our industry, with Laura and Nora and Julie Messner, to talk about what do women want and why do you want them leading? And it was wonderful to go, yep, boy, this is perfect. We have leaders that can do that. And perhaps my favorite event that With It has done is the one that happened in October of 2022 at the educational breakfast, which was the theme was Broken Ceilings, Lessons from the Top. And we had 4 amazing female CEOs with Maria for Hubbardton Forge, Lori from Restonic, Melinda Lazy Boy, and Caroline Hipple, our own Caroline, who's leading the charge at Norwalk. And just listening to their stories and their personal journey was so inspirational for all of us. And you know what? That's been different for me than when I started over 30 years ago. And good for us. We have more work to do, but we're making some good strides. So I'm going to leave you with my favorite quote from one of my favorite women of all smart professional women, Sheryl Sandberg, the founder of leanin.org, that did that survey that I spoke about earlier, and the former chief operating officer at Facebook, number 2 position within that company, says, and she's so right, if more women are in leadership roles, we'll stop assuming that they shouldn't be. Isn't that true? We're making progress for sure. We have a long way to go. So thank you all so much. Bill, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. What a great topic. And yay for Furniture Today for recognizing the importance of empowering women in our organization. So thank you.
Thank you, Lori, and thank With It for its educational support. It was an incredibly informative and inspirational talk, and this is an action plan for people who want to empower women in their organization. And now, let's honor some other great companies who are supporting the role of women in the industry and in their companies.
And now, we'd like to present our 2023 Empowering Women honorees. These companies truly exemplify excellence in empowering women in the workplace. Congratulations to all our honorees.
American Leather. American Leather boasts an 88% female workforce from 35 different countries, fostering remarkable diversity. This inclusivity is exemplified in senior leadership, with President Veronica Schnitzes hailing from Colombia, propelling change as an engineer in a male-dominated field. This commitment to diversity is fortified by a superior workplace experience, featuring perks like a wellness center, meditation room, and engaging employee events, all contributing to a culture of excellence. And more. Formerly recognized as International Market Centers, the company takes proactive steps to address the work-life balance obstacles encountered by women. This commitment is reflected in benefits such as an extensive parental leave policy and adaptable remote work choices, supplemented by a monthly technology stipend. Wellness initiatives encompass both physical and mental health, bolstered by confidential counseling via an employee assistance program. A unique productivity day encourages streamlined focus by minimizing internal communications. And more actively supports women's engagement in external networks and conferences, like With It and Gift for Life. Notably, their leadership development initiatives have seen significant female participation, underlining a promising trajectory toward key leadership positions. Krypton.
So as far as mentorship programs go at Krypton, we don't have an actual formal mentorship program per se, but I'd like to believe that mentorship in general and professional development is something that's really important to Krypton and always has been. Krypton was founded about 30 years, maybe 31 years ago. And one of the co-founders, Randy Rubin, is one of the most powerful female leaders and marketers in our industry. It's one of the main reasons why I decided to join Krypton in the company. I think it was about 7 years ago. I came into this industry, into the home furnishings industry and textiles with like zero background in this field. So I really needed to lean on mentors within our organization to kind of help myself learn, the business and the industry and the people. And I think that, with that being said, we didn't have a formal program, but I was able to have many mentors in my career. So I think, what makes Krypton an inclusive and open kind of company. I'll give you an example from my experience. I started with Krypton as a marketing manager. I think that was my title. And I did a lot between when I started and then where I am today. I had a couple of different titles. And I think, one of the things that's cool is that if we didn't have an inclusive and open type of, company, I wouldn't have been able to be in the position that I am today as the vice president of marketing if it wasn't just already like innately in the culture. So I would say like having a seat at the table.
Ashley Furniture prioritizes hiring and promoting women, especially in management roles. Their Women in Leadership initiative sets the standard for the industry. They've also partnered with women-centric nonprofits, enriching the broader community. Vest Home Furnishings. Based in Indiana, this leading upholstery producer has established a collaborative, open, and learning-oriented culture that empowers each team member. Through its commitment to diversity and inclusivity, numerous women have served in influential roles across the company, contributing significantly to its growth and success. Recognizing the unique needs of each individual, the company acknowledges the importance of tailored accommodations to facilitate personal and professional development. Dream Fit.
So at DreamFit, fostering an inclusive and supportive work environment for all employees, regardless of gender, is a top priority. We are dedicated to ensuring that every member of our team feels valued, respected, and empowered. And here's a few of the things that we've done. Diverse leadership. So we have strived for leadership teams that represents a variety of backgrounds, including gender diversity. This sends a strong message about our commitment to inclusivity. So at our headquarters, we have about 80% women that manage our accounts payable, customer service, marketing, and even fulfillment. Transparent communication is also a critical aspect of supporting a healthy work environment. We encourage open and transparent communication. Regular company-wide meetings, stand-ups, battle rhythms, weekly and bi-weekly have been a really great opportunity for us to really engage with our employees and see how they are feeling on a day-to-day basis to make sure that they are getting the communication they need in order to thrive in their position. At DreamFit, we are committed to ensuring equal opportunities for career growth and advancement for all employees, regardless of their gender. Here are some of the steps we take to achieve these goals. We have ongoing transparent performance evaluations. We have a standardized performance evaluation process that is transparent and based on objective criteria. This eliminates any bias and ensures that employees are evaluated appropriately. We also have clear promotion criteria. This gives us a well-defined criteria for promotions that are communicated to all employees. And again, this criteria is not biased and is based on skills, experience, and achievements, not on gender.
Caracol, ART, Marcor. A global outreach ensures that Caracol empowers women not just locally, but internationally. From female artisans to product development, marketing, and supply chain management, the company works to promote the advancement of women in its workplace through its female-friendly policies. Circle Furniture. Led by a male CEO, this Boston retailer demonstrates remarkable gender diversity in leadership roles. Among the CEO's direct reports, 6 out of 9 are women, and all 7 store managers are women as well. This gender balance aligns with the retailer's practice of promoting from within, prioritizing the best-suited individuals for success. CEO Bob Richard emphasizes merit-based advancement, acknowledging that within the organization, women often excel and assume prominent positions. Furniture Land South.
So here at Furniture Land South, we try really hard to make sure all of our employees are supported, that they have all the tools that they need to do their job, and can support our mission as a company, which is to provide a world-class shopping experience for all of our clients from all over the US and all over the world. So by way of putting in place mentorship programs such as our women's group Uplift, we make sure that all of our employees feel supported in their day-to-day job and also provide an area where they can come and talk about things outside of work. We also support local businesses, specifically that are women-owned. So we're not only supporting and encouraging the mentorship of our internal employees, but we're also helping to reach out into the community.
We actually start at the onboarding part with our new hires of introducing them and giving everyone the same course in DEI. So we have a formal training that every employee goes through. Once they're on campus, it starts at the top and goes down. And so we make sure we are fostering an environment that all feel welcome, regardless of gender, regardless of culture. And we have quite a diverse workforce here at Furniture Land South. And so we strive to make sure that everyone here does feel included and does feel welcome, does feel mutually respected. So that is very much a critical component of our makeup here at Furniture Land South.
Coaster. Coaster's leadership training programs are tailored to help women advance their careers. They also have above industry average maternity leave policies. The company also regularly features women-led small businesses in their supply chain. Cosia. In an industry often focused on male comfort, Cosia stands out by consulting women in product design and ergonomics. Their flexible working hours are a win for moms. Their sponsorship of annual women's wellness retreats helps foster both professional and personal development. High Point Market Authority.
at the High Point Market Authority, we promote gender diversity within our workforce by making sure that there's great opportunity here within the walls of this office, as well as with the partners that we work with. 87% of our employees are women, so it is important for us to make sure that that we're doing what we need to do internally to make sure that we are developing them both as women and as employees. Yes, we have worked with several specific organizations to make sure that we are empowering our women. One, of course, is With It, which our industry supports wholeheartedly, and we do as well. I have several team members who are very active with the organization, as well as in leadership roles with their board. We also have engaged a local company called D4 to do professional development with our whole team. And that is, of course, also, making sure that we're doing what we can to give each employee what they need to be successful, and that includes our women as well. We're very fortunate in that our first president was a woman of this organization. So we have a long history of women in leadership roles with the Market Authority.
Crestview. Women make up over half of Crestview's executive board, offering a unique perspective in decision-making. Their mentorship programs and work-life balance initiatives make them a popular choice for prospective female employees. Gardner White. For over a century, this Michigan retailer, under female leadership since 2012, embodies a culture of gender diversity, with nearly 70% of the executive leadership team being female. This inclusivity stems from robust leadership training and a commitment to equal growth opportunities. The Gardner White Leadership Academy exemplifies this approach, fostering diverse leadership development by intentionally balancing male and female participants in its classes, creating a supportive atmosphere that values growth, empowers voices, and prioritizes work-life balance.
Hooker Furnishings.
So we know that one of the key drivers of success in organizations is diverse representation at all levels of leadership, from the board of directors to our executive team, directors and managers, our leads and supervisors on the warehouse and plant floors. So there's so many dimensions of diversity, and of course, one very important one is gender. So we do focus on representation of women in leadership. So 7 years ago, our board of directors was 100% male, and we're so proud to say today that our board of directors now is equally represented 50% male and 50% female. So I think this really shows our overall commitment to equal opportunities starting at the very top of the organization. So one of the key drivers of retaining a highly engaged and productive staff, particularly women, are benefits related to work-life balance. Lack of flexibility is one of the top reasons women in particular leave their positions or leave an organization. So we know this is an extremely important aspect to have in our work environments. We've seen that for a long time, but it really became a prominent issue during and after the COVID pandemic. Much more women than men left the workforce during COVID, and we have worked really hard to ensure that that statistic didn't apply to our organization.
Glen Raven. Glen Raven puts a strong emphasis on environmental responsibility and has placed many women in positions of leadership for these sustainability initiatives. The forward-looking company's educational grants often go to women in environmental sciences. Harunian Rugs.
We have a number of young ladies who are actually in charge of the entire business of HRI, and they are sales professionals, and they are as well as public relation and all that. We have a smaller staff. We have a staff of 20 only, and the young ladies who are on top actually are like 8 of them. 8 of 20 are young ladies. We are very thrilled with their work and with their production. So, a couple of them do designs for us. They do marketing. They are not treated like ordinary employees. They're actually, men and women here are treated the same. We look at them as being the same. In fact, some of the ladies are probably produce a lot more than and do a lot more than men do. Each of them are savvy or experts in what they do. And we value their participation, we value their connection with HRI, and that's it. That's how we treat them.
Nebraska Furniture Mart.
NFM has some fantastic stories of women who have progressed throughout the company and really built full careers here. There's a few that come to mind, but we've got two that started as part-time cashiers here when they were students. One of them progressed up through the service ranks, then moved over through sales, was a floor manager, a sales manager, then a general sales manager, worked in delivery operations, and then finally became our first female store director running our Kansas City store, and her name is Nastasia Williams. Similar story for Tara Martinowski. Tara started as a part-time cashier, worked as a lead, and then moved over into merchandising, and eventually ended up in human resources where she was a recruiter, a senior recruiter, a generalist, and she's now the HR manager for that store. NFM does track gender equality and empowerment of women and all employees, but women specifically at NFM. So a few of the things we do, just to start, we have a dashboard and we just look at numbers. And numbers don't tell the whole story, but it oftentimes let you know where you have opportunities and successes. Another thing that NFM is incredibly proud of is a program that we've developed called Women Lead. And it's a program to take women and prepare them for retail leadership positions. And we actually track and share the number of promotions of women that graduate from that program. And the success has really been astonishing. It's great to see that happen. We've got some other development programs that are for all staff. Again, preparing for leadership though, and by tracking those, just is a way that we make sure we're successful in our efforts to increase diversity and inclusion at NFM.
Howard Elliott. An equal opportunity employer, Howard Elliott focus on skill over gender. Their diversity training ensures a respectful workplace, and they offer scholarships for women entering design and engineering. JMX Brands. JMX Brands boasts a high percentage of women in tech roles, breaking industry stereotypes. They offer a supportive environment for career growth and encourage women to take the lead in innovation. Norwalk.
Empowerment's really important to me personally and to our company because empowerment is sort of the fuel that feeds the pistons of the engine that goes. And to have an empowered workforce means they're involved in decisions that are made that affect the work they do. But empowerment comes from how the managers lead, how people are engaged and appreciated, and allowing employees in an empowered environment, employees feel like they can take risks and can grow. Well, as a woman employee myself, you know, the work-life balance is always usually thrown at women because I suppose more often women are take a bigger share of the child rearing phase. But we think work-life balance applies to men and women. It's through the individual leadership and appreciating the individual and working with them for what their individual needs are. And it can be flexible time off or things that if they have needs, we can find a way to work it out. And it's not rules, it's method. What I like about empowerment with employees, men and women, is that it encourages younger and older to work together. And you have mentoring with the older employees and you find ways for the newer employees or the younger with you to take roles that are responsible and taking risks. And it's really important that women particularly step up and take risks. And managers need to encourage folks to take risks that they might not think they could handle. And that's where the real growth comes.
Lazy Boy. Lazy Boy has been making headlines with its Women in Leadership program. They also offer flexible scheduling options and generous maternity leaves. An internal women's network encourages peer support and professional growth. Liberty Furniture. Liberty Furniture has women prominently placed in product development and quality assurance roles. Their internal leadership programs are designed to fast-track women into executive roles. Res Tonic.
So we have, for many years, looked to promote and support women that have been in the lower to middle management tiers and to give them the tools that they need to amplify their voice and to become more involved in the C-level suite. So we have quite a few women that are leading the organization, and we feel that by blending the gender more, we have a better device to listen to our customer, that the majority of our customers are female. So we think it's important to have females in the C-suite to be able to direct the company to listen to the consumers appropriately. A situation where we invite and encourage females to participate in different conferences, different organizations such as ISPA, With It, and to really interact and network. We find that the networking aspect of our business helps to spur on creativity and also create relationships that then work to elevate the females within our organization.
O.W. Lee. Craftsmanship meets women's empowerment at O.W. Lee. They invest in vocational training for women, particularly in areas typically dominated by men. They also offer flexible work schedules to support work-life balance. Hollywood. Hollywood offers skills development programs specifically geared toward women. They also excel in providing a family-friendly environment, including on-site childcare services. Their community service often involves women-centric charities. Reverie.
At Reverie, we have informal networks for supporting the professional development of people in our workplace. Our organization is small enough that we all take great pride in welcoming in and supporting, mentoring, and encouraging new and tenured employees to ensure that not only are they developing professionally, but that their personal well-being is also being supported. Reverie fosters an inclusive work environment for all employees, regardless of gender, by really being open to the bigger picture. We are multidimensional people. We are humans. And all of us have a lot going on outside of the workplace. So first and foremost, our organization recognizes that we are humans, we work together, and we care about each other as colleagues and friends and even family. And it's very important that when we view each other, we're thinking of the whole person and the whole need, regardless of who you are or where you come from. We need to be open to listening to the experiences of each other and open to acknowledging that life is happening every day outside of the workplace, and what happens outside of the workplace impacts how you present to the world and how you work on a daily basis. Our philosophy for inclusion really involves being open to listening and curious about understanding our colleagues as whole people and whole humans, regardless of gender.
Raymore and Flanagan. Offering excellent work-life balance options, Raymore and Flanagan is a haven for career-driven women. They offer tuition reimbursement to provide advanced education opportunities. opening doors for women to rise through the ranks. Resident. Resident's focus on e-commerce opens remote work options, which is a significant change for working moms. Their women-led design teams shape the brand's aesthetic and ethos. Walter E. Smith.
Well, I have one story I always highlight when I interview candidates is that we have great longevity within the company, and many people who have been here have really made a career for themselves here and have done so over the course of many decades. One example that I love to highlight in my interviews is we have one designer, a woman named Ellen, who's wonderful, who works in our Arlington Heights showroom. And she's been a part of our team for 37 years. And when people ask about career development at Smith, I highlight her as an example because what she's done to elevate her role as designer over the course of those nearly 4 decades is truly incredible. She works almost exclusively off repeat business and referral business. And she's, a phenomenal example, a success story of a woman who's built her career here. So many of our successful designers are women here at Walter E. Smith. And so the example they set inspires everyone who they work with, men, women, everyone. And so, I think that our track record for leaders in management positions is also another thing that I would share. We have managers across virtually all departments within our showrooms as well as in our home office who are women. And so I think the combination of those things, we really set the tone and have a deep personal understanding for what others go through when they're trying to balance the challenges of career and family. I mean, we're a performance-driven organization. And we don't let gender stop anyone from being successful here.
SCI Furniture. SCI Furniture offers training programs in marketing and design specifically aimed at women. They encourage internal promotions, often lifting women into leadership roles. Their employee benefits are also tailored to the needs of women.
Serta Simmons.
Women in leadership isn't just a slogan at Serta, it's a reality. With numerous women in key roles, they offer a well-rounded work environment. They also have a robust program aimed at professional development for women. Treasure Garden. Treasure Garden promotes from within, offering women a clear path to leadership roles. They actively seek women designers for product development. Classic Home.
So here at Classic Home, to ensure that we are applying fair pay against male counterparts, is that when we do our hiring, specifically here in our human resources department, we do an initial screening process where allows us to talk to that candidate before actually sending off to the hiring manager. And it's kind of more of what we like to call an introductory call, where we like to explain the culture here at Classic Home, who we are as a company, how we got started, what we sell, and what our product is like. And then obviously obtain any information regarding the candidate, what it is in terms of their expectations. How I like to call it is, although we're looking for our ideal employee and our ideal candidates to fill our roles, we also understand that as an employee, you're looking for an employer that will fulfill your needs as well. You would also want to work for an employer that ultimately you may plan on retiring with. So we want to ensure that during our initial introductory calls that we cover all those details before sending you off to the hiring manager to ensure that you as a candidate, you understand that working for Classic Home is what you're ultimately going to want, because we respect the fact that, you're out there looking as well. So with that, we obtain pretty much all the information. We give them the information up front, which is what our salary ranges for the role, what we offer in terms of benefits, PTO, any perks or incentives that we also add as well. So we give that information pretty much upfront to all candidates, and we obtain any information that they might give to us in terms of their salary expectations, their benefit expectations, and so forth. So ideally, we try to meet all of our applicants in the middle. So we try to get what they're looking for in terms of pay, even with benefits. So it's never really of us trying to be biased or picking and choosing in a sense of, well, this person over this person, but we want to be fair game all across the board.
Thank you all for attending our 2023 Empowering Women event, and congratulations again to all of our honorees.